Welcome to another edition of HorseCenter, everyone. I'm your host, Brian Zipsey, and as always, I am joined by the best partner in the world, Matt Skaggy Schiffman. How are you tonight, Matt?
I'm great, Brian. I'm ready to get my Preak on.
Get your Preak on, Matt. This is the Preakness edition of HorseCenter, everyone. We're excited. We're less than 3 days away now, less than 72 hours away from racing's middle jewel. Matt, the draw just happened. Let's talk about the draw a little bit. Baffert. Back-to-back 1 and 2 on the rail, American Pharoah and Dortmund. Not what Mr. Baffert was hoping for, I don't think.
No, absolutely not. And I was kind of got a little chuckle from when you and I were talking this morning, and I was kind of pondering the possibilities of American Pharoah if he was on the inside. And boy, he sure ended up on the inside on the rail. Even though it's an 8-horse field, it certainly adds a lot of interest to this Preakness.
A double dose of inside, Matt. 1 and 2, American Pharoah Dortmund. Advantage firing line. He got the 8 post, which I think is pretty ideal for Mr. Simon Callahan. They have to be happy. Morning line odds. We have American Pharoah is a heavy favorite at 4 to 5. The rail post, as we kind of said, is not ideal. So maybe those odds will drift up a little bit for the Kentucky Derby winner. Who else did we have? Mr. Z, the late entry, the intrigue, the crazy story of Lucas taking him to Pimlico without his owner's want or even permission, and then he engineered a sale with Calumet Farm. Mr. Z's in number 3. We have Danzig Moon. We have Tale of Verve. We have Divining Rod, who I'm liking more and more, as the 4th choice at 12 to 1. Dave Rodman, the odds maker there, Keith, the odds maker there, made Dortmund a slight second choice at 7 to 2.
Yep.
Let's jump right into the field, Matt. I want you to tell me how American Pharoah is going to win or how he's going to lose.
Well, the 1 post position sure added a lot to that. And one thing's for sure is that Victor Espinoza cannot have a rerun of some of the things that happened with California Chrome later last year when he was on the rail in the Pennsylvania Derby, in the Belmont. Victor Espinoza has to, one way or another, make sure that American Pharoah does not get hemmed in on the rail so that the other horses can dictate and keep him locked in. It seems to me that Espinoza is not comfortable in that spot, so he's going to have the right set strategy. He's going to either have to gun it and get clear, or let him go, and as soon as they go, start working his way out to that perfect position in the pocket that he so loves and is so successful running from.
Yeah, Matt, perhaps we're talking more than anything about the Pennsylvania Derby last year, where California Chrome drew the rail, and it didn't go well for Victor Espinoza and California Chrome that day. So, yeah, I think the pressure's on Victor here all of a sudden with this rail draw. I agree with you completely. Either he goes to the lead from the rail, but I don't think that's such an easy task with both Dortmund and Mr. Z, who's now no longer the same ownership and a speedy horse in the 3 hole. I think the task became tougher for American Pharoah. Now his stablemate, different ownership, Dortmund, drew the number 2. Is this a better post position actually than the number 8 position was in the Kentucky Derby, where he inherited the lead pretty easily?
Well, it seems like he certainly has a little bit of a controlling position over his stablemate, American Pharoah. So, I mean, that's going to be a good thing. He's going to be able to get himself right into the position that he wants. In my opinion, he's going to have to show more. He kind of faded a little bit in the Derby. This is a little bit shorter. So I think he can have everything his way in Preakness.
Maybe, although I don't love the post position either, Matt, to tell you the truth. And he's kind of in between the two in American Pharoah and Mr. Z, who we just spoke of, the Lucas horse who has speed, different ownership than American Pharoah now. I think he's going to run his race. And if that's to go to the lead, like Lucas and Calumet's other long shot from a couple years ago, Oxbow did, that could put Dortmund into a little bit of a Malachi crunch that first furlong. Dortmund is a good enough horse, and he's shown the ability to rally just a little bit. in races past that maybe he drops back and gets the pocket, especially if Victor is prompted to go for that early lead. And that could end up working in Dortmund's favor. But I'm going to say tough post for American Pharoah, tough post for Dortmund.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think talking about Mr. Z, he is absolutely the wild card in this race, maybe with a little bit of emphasis on the wild, depending. I mean, if they send him great guns, we got a whole different ball game here.
And I think they very well may. That's been the history, as we just talked about 2 years ago. They won it with Oxbow, 15-1. He went right to the lead in the Preakness and he wired it. I don't know if Mr. Z's as good a horse as Oxbow. I tend to think he's not. But like you're talking about, I think it's a pace factor. And with the three favorites all having a fair amount of speed, Mr. Z could be in there to foul up the works at the very least. Who do we have in the 4 spot, Matt?
We got Danzig Moon in the 4th spot, and like you said, Brian, if this does turn out to be a really hot pace, that's exactly what Danzig Moon needs. That's his key to success in that race, is a super hot pace where those horses on the lead are really going to quit, and he needs a pace meltdown to be able to make the move that he's capable of.
Yeah, I agree. I like the draw for Danzig Moon. We're going to talk about Divining Rod in a minute. I like the draw for both of them. I think it adds to the pace probably. I think we're going to see maybe more than that 111 and change that we saw in the Derby. And I agree with you, Matt. I think Danzig Moon, who may still be a developing, improving horse, a well-bred son of Malibu Moon, who maybe was a little close in all that congestion in the Kentucky Derby, maybe a little closer than he wanted to. Now with a smaller field and maybe even more pace like we're talking about, Danzig Moon has the chance to really make one run, and he's one of the 2 big dangers. And after the draw, Matt, I like those 2 big dangers more than I did an hour ago, because I think Danzig Moon and Divining Rod both have the chance to make that run a little bit better now that we know that there's some real speed concerns.
Yeah, I agree with that analysis, Brian.
Number 5, who is it, Matt?
Number 5 is Tale of Verve, and 30-1 on the morning line. Dallas Stewart wanted to run the horse in the Derby. He's got him in the Preakness. I don't know. I don't see it, but Dallas has sprung some big closers before. I don't know, but like I said, I don't see it. This one's not as good as Commanding Curve in the Derby before, but I don't know. Stewart seems to think there's something to show with this horse.
Yeah, Dallas Stewart has liked him, although he took several races to win his maiden. He does have a win at the distance of a mile 3/16. If there is a pace that's closer to 109 than 111, I think it benefits Tale of the Verve. Whether he's good enough is a huge question mark, but he may be a good bet to be last early, and maybe he shows us something and rallies into the picture. Maybe he's 8th early and rallies to be 7th. Probably more likely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's next?
In the number 6 hole is the horse with the home court advantage. That's Bodhisattva. I know I'm not quite saying that right, but it's close enough. And this one won the Tessio, which is the Pimlico prep race for the Preakness, and he did it. He showed some grit. He ran close, just off the pace. I don't know if he's fast enough to go with the kind of pace we're talking about here at Pimlico. I think it was like 113 for 3/4, but who knows? Young jockey, Trevor McCarthy, and all the excitement. Who knows? They could get caught up. They could get caught up in it also for some of the early going.
Yeah, Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva, I like to say the name, but I don't like the horse's chances in the Preakness, unfortunately. Trevor McCarthy's going to have his 21st birthday on the Preakness, which is kind of fun. I think that I'm agreeing with you, Matt. I think that Bodhisattva makes noise if he's part of the pace, if he's a pace pusher. I don't see him having enough speed to probably get the early lead. But if he gets caught up with 4 or 5 other horses, Firing Line, Dortmund, American Pharoah, Mr. Z, he can only add to that early pace. And that's really how I'm interested in Bodhisattva. I don't think he's a legitimate threat to even hit the board, though.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But the next horse, I think, maybe.
Yep. Next is Divining Rod. coming off of he's had a great year so far this year. Hasn't run a bad race in 2015. A couple of great races down in Florida at Tampa Bay Downs, and then a stellar performance in the Lexington a few weeks ago. 98 Beyer speed figure. That's not that much improvement that he needs to make. If he continues to improve, that stalking race that he ran in the Lexington, I think, is absolutely perfect if the pace scenario goes the way that we're talking.
Yeah, I agree, Matt. And you know, he was a young horse who maybe didn't run his best at Tampa Bay, but he showed me some heart in a couple races down there. The Lexington, he exploded. There's some talented horses in the Lexington. It's yet to be seen just how good they are, but he dominated. Came off the pace a little bit. I think in the Preakness, probably he'll come off the pace a little bit more. Precious Kitten is his dam, a Grade 1 winning turf mare. He's out of Tappet, of course. Really beautiful horse. I think he's the one that's getting good at the right time. I like him even better than Danzig Moon. Fast pace. I think he's going to be sixth early, fifth, or maybe sixth or seventh early, but he won't be out of the race early, within 10 lengths for sure. And then if the pace is fast enough and he's improved like I think he has, that 12-1 is becoming very attractive in my mind.
Yeah, and I really liked the way he accelerated down the stretch in his last race. He didn't just take the lead, but he put on a nice burst of speed at the end. And like you said about Danzig Moon, I didn't really see that from Danzig Moon going down the stretch. So I agree. I like Divining Rod more than Danzig Moon also. And that
Danzig
brings us.
Moon, yeah, Danzig Moon has kind of proven to me that he's probably a distance horse already, maybe more so at this stage than Divining Rod, but I think you're right. I think Divining Rod may have a better turn of foot that we saw in the Lexington, and that's kind of why I'm liking him a little bit more, even though Leparoux picked Danzig Moon over Divining Rod. I could see either of them running. I like Divining Rod a little bit better. And Matt, what a story for Lyle Stables, Gretchen and Roy Jackson. The last time, of course, they ran in the Preakness, it was tragedy. It was heartbreaking watching the Kentucky Derby, the undefeated Kentucky Derby winner, Barbaro, come to Preakness, and he got hurt right out of the gate practically. If this happens where they get complete and divine retribution and just exercise all the demons and their horse runs a good race, that would be wonderful. If their horse wins the Preakness, which I think he has a chance to do, what a story that would be. Let's go to the 8-horse, Matt.
And the 8-horse is Firing Line. 4-1, outside post. I know Gary Stevens, his comments after the draw, he was about as excited as I've ever heard him. He thinks he can have everything his way sitting on the outside. He can read. He can see what Dortmund and American Pharoah are doing, and he seems to think that he can get Firing Line to do anything he wants. I want to see it. I want to see him come off the pace. I want to see him stalk. Steven seems to think it's no problem.
I agree. I think he can. In the races that I've seen him run, I think he's tractable. I think he can sit third or fourth. The advantage is definitely in his court after the post position draw. Obviously a good horse after that Derby. We now know he can go the distance. Stevens should be happy. It doesn't always work out how it looks on paper from the draw, but Firing Line got a big advantage. I was a little surprised that he's the third choice behind Dortmund. I think race day he might be the second choice.
Yeah, it could be. I think those two are going to be very, very close to each other in the odds. But yeah, with taking the post positions into consideration now, makes them a lot even.
We both agree, I think, that Firing Line is the winner of the post position draw. Whether that translates on Saturday, we'll have to wait and see, but it should be a fun race, Matt. Any closing comments on our Preakness preview?
Sure, I got a couple. Just so everybody doesn't get too carried away with the statistics saying that the one post is a tough win in the Preakness. Just keep in mind, since the year 2000, there hasn't been a winner from the one post, but the only horse of any merit that's broke out of the one post since then was Orb. All the rest of the horses that have been coming out of the one post have really not been contenders. And even so, one of them managed to get a second and another one managed to get a third. So hang on to your statistics there, everybody, on that. And I also feel like I don't think that we're going to have a 1, 2, 3 finish from the Derby horses here. I think one of them is going to run out of the trifecta.
Good points, Matt. I think that usually happens. It's hard to get the top 3 to come back and do it all again in the Preakness. I think Baffert's going to have some nightmares tonight. 1 and 2, you're right. It may not be a death knell like it can be sometimes in the Kentucky Derby. However, neither post position has produced a Preakness winner in more than 20 years. And the fact that they're right together with Mr. Z right outside them, yeah, that makes life a little bit tougher. So we shall see. We're excited to see it. Matt, you excited to see this year's Preakness?
I absolutely am. You know, and it's the kind of race that I'm really excited to watch. I don't think I'm going to be wagering much on it because I don't think there's many places where you can make too much money. You know, I think a couple of those Derby horses are going to be in there at the finish.
Okay, Matt, I'll call you Saturday morning and we'll talk big pick 5s where the Preakness is the key race because we will be betting.
That sounds better to me.
Our audience knows us. We'll be back. Matt, thank you for joining me tonight.
My pleasure, and thank you, Ember.
Thank you, Ember Marr, our wonderful producer, and thank you, everyone, for watching us tonight. Again, we're brought to you by Horse Racing Nation and Derby Wars. Derby Wars has a $100,000 tournament, Preakness tournament on Saturday. Check it out if you haven't done before. Have a good night, everyone, and happy Preakness week.